ready?
Ready.
Wilder Show podcast. I'm Scott. That's Lauren.
Hello.
Hey there.
Hey, I'm really. Gratitude is good, right?
Gratitude is good. I'm going to state that. Yes,
I'm grateful. First of all, I'm really. It's a beautiful sunny day. I'm very grateful for that. I'm also very grateful that this is not a video podcast. Today, especially, I'm very grateful that this is not a video podcast.
Because of the way I look?
No, well, I wasn't even thinking about that, actually. You look fine.
No, you look fine. It's all good.
Yeah, but I'm happy to be here, though.
Well, good. Let's go through our little pre-ramble at the beginning. Podcast at wildershow.com is how you will contact us if you want to do that in writing. But if you want to leave us a voice mail or a message or a review or a question or a comment, you can do that at wildershow.com. And in fact, Lauren, we got one, I think it was...
just a couple of days ago.
It was a couple of days ago.
It was so interesting.
And it was Holly,
Yeah.
I think. And Holly sent a note about the whole thing about peanut allergies.
Right.
Because she has, as I recall, an 18-year-old daughter.
Yes.
And she went through the whole thing of what they do and start with 1/8 of a peanut. I thought, 1/8 of a peanut?
Know.
So anyway, thanks for the voice. We did get it. And thank you. If you want to leave us a voicemail, wildershow.com is where to do that. And the podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get it. We have people that have joined us on Instagram now. We have an Instagram for Wilder Show Podcast now, and more people are, a few. But, I mean, if you want to follow us at Wilder Show Podcast.
You get in on the ground
Instagram,
floor.
Yeah, that's right, ground floor. You can follow us
It's this
there.
little thing called Instagram.
Yeah, it's a little thing. Well, I'll tell you later. And you get the podcast wherever you get your podcast. Like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share. And now let's get into what we have for today. I have a thumbs up and a thumbs down for President Trump.
Okay.
I want to be an honest person. Generally, I want to be, but
Discerning.
yeah, and I want to be able to just, I think the criticism that we might have for a person that we supported actually is not bad. It helps us because then when we are critical of the other people, it makes it seem like perhaps that's real.
Right.
We kind of went through that with Clinton. He could do no wrong for one side, do no right for the other side. The problem with that is nobody's going to believe you if you always and only say that whatever you decided was right and will always be right.
Of course.
And what the other guy decided is wrong and will always be wrong. So I'll start with the bad news. Mr. Corleone insists on hearing bad news immediately. So I would start by saying, if you're going to call anybody a dictator, let's start with the ones that are actually dictators. Now, I want to allow there may be genius to the madness. There may be something interesting that none of us knows at the moment, and it will all be fixed over time.
Genius to the president's madness? Is there
maybe
you just mean in general?
Maybe negotiations going on.
Okay,
maybe there really is a reason why you leave Zelensky out and you have a conversation in Saudi Arabia with Russia without Ukraine involved.
Right.
Maybe. We'll see. We don't know what the final thing is going to be. But the name calling and all that, I'm not a big fan of, and I don't really like calling him a dictator. He was democratically elected.
That's true.
And they did have to, because of bombing, put off the election from, I guess, last year or whenever it was. Late last year, there was going to be another election. And they had to put that off because nobody can go to the polls because everything's getting bombed. But that doesn't make him a dictator. And if that makes him a dictator, what is Putin? So I would just say that's my little thumbs down for the president for the moment.
You got a thumbs up too, though?
I do, and it has to do with the border.
Okay.
Back to the things that sort of impact us more. The border, it turns out Donald Trump was right on several things about the border. We now have U.S. Customs and Border Protection data this last week that showed that the number of illegal immigrants encountered by Border Patrol on the southern border fell to 60,000 in January. And you say, well, that's still an awful lot of people.
Yeah.
But 60,000 in January, that's down from 96,000 just the month before.
Got it.
And that was down from over 300,000
Wow.
in the month of December 2023, which was the height of what's been called the Biden border crisis.
Okay.
One little note about this. When Democrats are critical of the number of arrests at the border, they'll say, hey, arrests at the border or turning people back at the border is down. It's actually down. It was higher under Biden. Well, you can imagine if 300,000 people are trying to get in as opposed to now 60,000 trying to get in. Yeah, you would be encountering fewer people.
It'll be a higher number.
That is not bad news. See, that you got to be careful with statistics and things like that, because some people run around the Biden supporters or the Democrats generally, and they'll say, hey, you know what? But there are actually fewer people that the Border Patrol is encountering. The Biden group encountered more. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know why? Because they had a soft border and more illegals were trying to get in the country. So that's not bad news that there are fewer being encountered. It's very good news.
Yeah.
And Trump was right about that.
Details matter.
Absolutely.
That's something that you've said about things like that?
That's right. The decline in border encounters shows President Trump was right in three key ways and things that really he had made in the debate over the border policy. Number one, enforcement works. Number two, in other words, just follow the law. We don't need to do more. Just do what we already know to do. Mm-hmm. Number two, Joe Biden's policies invited more people to come into the country.
Yeah.
A magnet. When you have a magnet, it's going to attract more. And number three, congressional action was not needed to end it. He can simply come in and say, look, his presence alone and then what he's done at the border is there are fewer people that are seeking to come into the country.
Yeah. That's
good news. And then if we have the chance to encounter, we turn them back.
Right.
So anyway, that's a little bit of thumbs down, but I'm going to give a let's wait and see. I don't like how the whole Zelensky thing is going right now, but we'll see over time. Maybe it's going to be a little bit better, but definitely a thumbs up on the border. I think that's going really swimmingly.
Noted. Did you by chance see a story about something that? Well, you're on X, right? Are you still on X?
I don't post a lot on X. I'll use it sometimes just to gather information, but it gives me tired head sometimes. I just can't even deal with it so much. But something on X?
Do you follow or did you see something that Megyn Kelly posted last week?
Maybe I follow her also on Instagram. I can't recall, but I know she's always posting stuff. And I can't read every single thing that everybody posts. The stories and this, and it's on X, and I do my best, but I may not have seen what you're talking about.
Well, I am not on X, and I didn't see this kind of in the wild, but this was a big enough deal that there have been a few stories written about it. And I don't really know. I mean, it really bothers me. It really doesn't have anything to do with how you feel about Megyn Kelly one way or another. But I'm wondering, let me just tell you what she said.
Go.
And you tell me what you think. She said, ladies, it is possible to make your own money, have your own career, pay for your own swanky NYC apartment, etc., and find a man who loves you, wants to have and raise kids with you, and wants to be with you and only you.
Okay.
The only thing stopping you? Your decision to settle for less.
All right, make sure I understand what she's saying first.
Yeah.
She's saying, obviously, she's talking about herself.
Yeah.
And she has all these, kicking things in her life.
She's achieved
That's good.
a lot.
Yeah, good for her.
Yeah.
And she's saying that if ladies need to keep the bar high,
right,
to make sure that they marry the right person, the right man, obviously, and that, okay, I think I understand now. Saying keep your standards high, and is she saying you will get this, or you will have this, or you can? That
it is possible.
Okay,
it is possible. It sort of felt like me, and you know what? I was going to say ladies, but guys too. If you feel if I'm wrong about this, or if you have a different opinion, shoot us an email, podcast@wildershow.com.
Okay, yeah,
or
sure.
you can even leave a voicemail message there. But it kind of felt to me like, look at me, look at my kick in life. You could have all of this too. Just don't settle for less.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm thrilled that she has a great husband and a great relationship with him, and kids that she loves, and that he, participates in all of that with her. But the making money, having your own career, paying for your own swanky NYC apartment, it's like, look at all I have, and you could have this too. And the only thing that's stopping you from having this is that you're just deciding to settle for less.
Yeah.
And first of all, and I guess she's not really saying this, not everybody wants that.
Yeah.
Not all women want
the swanky
all of
stuff,
those
the
as you can
fancy stuff.
imagine, there were comments saying, to that effect. We don't all want the same thing.
Yeah, we're not
that
all
you want. But it just makes me feel kind of icky, and I don't know why.
I would add a couple of things. She could also say, one of the things, ladies, stopping you is you don't have the symmetrical face that I have.
Well,
God has blessed her with a certain look, and then I'm sure enhancements have assisted her along the way. That helps her in getting the things that she's gotten. She hasn't gotten it because, well, I'll just say that has helped her in all the things that she has been able to do, whether it was for Roger Ailes at Fox or what she's doing now.
Doesn't hurt.
No, it doesn't hurt that she's a good-looking gal. The other thing is the husband could put out a tweet that says, guys, the only thing that's standing in your way is you're not marrying a girl that is making $100 million a year. If you did, boy, you could be compliant like me. You could stay home and then go to the Super Bowl and sit in the visitor's box right next to the president. I mean,
don't settle for less, guys.
He'd be doing none of that stuff, I would guess. I don't know much about him, but I don't know what his name even is. But he would be doing none of that except for that he is married to Megyn Kelly. So I don't know. I just think, it is a little bit. So you want feedback. You want some feedback on this, and you can get that in two ways. You can go to wildershow.com and leave Lauren a voice message there, or just send an email to podcast@wildershow.com.
Yeah, I think it feels a little manifesty to me. So many people talking about manifesting
your future or whatever.
And
I don't even get what that is. Is that like name it and claim it, but about your own life sort of thing?
I guess so.
It always makes me nervous when I know there's something like that, because I sort of look. Not that I can see the future, but I look sort of I project us all toward the future. And I wonder, is that the kind of tweet that is going to come back to haunt?
Well,
I mean, when she
says,
hope not, I know, sake, I know, but that's what I'm saying. When you're out there, banging the drum so loudly about, you're this, you're that. I mean, I think I was just watching some, I don't know, limited series about a thing like that where a gal was talking about her situation, and then down the road you find out, maybe stuff wasn't exactly. Yeah. As she said it was, or maybe even that she thought it was, and you find out this about this person and this about this person, and those things sort of come back to haunt. I hope not for Megyn Kelly. I want her to do well, but I understand what you're saying about it. It's a little bit. It
kind of seems like it's maybe not meant to, but there's such a recipe there for making women feel bad about what they haven't achieved, and somehow it's your fault because you settled for less.
And in an effort,
yesterday I was really happy with the way my life was going, and then Megyn Kelly told me I don't have everything that she has because I just settled for less. Yeah, I might be reading. Yeah,
good luck being that husband. Is
more into it
as she walks through the room after reading the Megyn Kelly X tweet. It's like, look at what you made me do. Yeah, it's one of those things where, if you look at it one way, you could say this is an encouragement to women not to settle for less. But so many of the women that are reading it are already down that road at some point. It's not a tweet that was intended for only, women, 35 and under.
Right.
This is sort of like for, hey, ladies. What she says is the only thing in your way of getting the stuff that you want is that you've settled for less. And that can sound one way if you haven't, settled yet. The vast majority of the women that read that are people who've already made a decision.
Yeah.
And so, it's like, okay, ladies, it's your own fault that you don't have all the kicking stuff that I have. Plane crashes. There's an old story that we don't see reports on the news for all the planes that land safely. that's not news, right? It's the ones that don't land safely that is the news. And I bring that up because I think then, since that is the case, we can't say, are there just more plane crashes these days? Or are we now hearing about the ones and it's always been this many? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
That's what I'm saying, because that is the prime example that's given of what is the news. A plane not landing safely is the news.
You're right.
And we hear about it every time. Mm-hmm. Even after, and these latest ones, they have all happened right after we've flown.
Yeah.
The thing that happened in the Potomac was right after we flew.
That's right.
That exact same plane over that exact same water.
Just a week before.
A week before. And then this last one that happened with the thing flipping over, that one happened right after we had flown. And then, I don't know if you saw this or not, and it becomes that deal of, I think I saw it, but no, you didn't. There's another one, this 2 single-engine planes that collided midair at the Marana Regional Airport. That was just on Wednesday.
So that came after the Delta flight that flipped over. There,
and two people died in the crash.
You said, are there more lately? This is all like within the last 3 weeks.
I know.
Have there been more in the last 3 weeks than we'd heard about in the whole, I don't know, in 6 months prior?
It doesn't make me less interested in flying. I mean, it's not that I'm dying to, well, it's a bad way, but I'm dying to fly. It's just that is the way you get from point A to point B. If point B is, more than 10 hours away, I'm not going to drive from here to Boston. I'm going to drive from here to Seattle. You're going to have to fly. You just got to figure it out, how you're going to do it. And speaking of the ultimate demise, did you see that they? First of all, the Pope is in a bad way.
Yeah,
you probably saw that. Mm-hmm. And we have in a future podcast, we'll talk about the predictions of Saint Malachy, which is really odd and weird. But this Pope is in a bad way. You were going to say?
Well, I think the first time you and I talked about that, it was probably several decades ago.
It was, yeah, and
maybe 3 decades ago.
And the things that have come true from that weird prediction, it's sort of like a Catholic Nostradamus.
Yeah,
Saint Malachy. But anyway, we'll talk about that at a future time. Although, according to the news today, that time may be creeping up on us rather quickly. Mm-hmm. The Pope has double. You call it double pneumonia?
Double pneumonia.
He has double pneumonia. Pneumonia on each side, I think. And he has told those close to him that he does not believe it is likely that he will survive.
Really?
And so they are currently having rehearsals for the Pope's funeral.
Wow.
Is that weird to have a rehearsal?
It's a big thing. It's a big production.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Mm. I guess,
want to get it right.
It's weird compared to the way, we have funerals, but maybe it's not.
Mm-hmm. So like for a wedding, you have a rehearsal dinner. You have the rehearsal, then rehearsal dinner. They have like a funeral rehearsal. It makes me nervous, all this.
Wait, why? Why does that make you nervous?
I don't know. Just it's like he's not even dead yet. Let him die, and then you can do it. Nobody's going to notice if you did something wrong. Nobody. And by the way, the fact that you're doing it probably will not be viewed as wrong anyway by the people that care the most. It's like, okay, I don't know. Maybe it's getting the affairs in order and all that. You got to get ready and make sure you have enough stuff to make the white smoke and enough stuff to make the black smoke, and all the stuff that you're going to do as you plan for the next pope.
Is this something they've done in the past? I mean,
you mean the rehearsals?
I
don't think they've known it. I don't think they've had that much advance warning. Okay. And the Pope himself is the one saying, "Hey guys, maybe Pope's saying it. Let's get it together. Let's figure out what we're going to do, and and I'll, hopefully I won't die, but looks like I'm not going to make it. But anyway, the Pope funeral rehearsals seems odd.
Yeah,
it is time for Scattershoot.
Let's do it.
Scattershoot, Wilder Show, Scattershoot. This is where we, play like a scattergun. We talk about scattergun. A scattergun is not like a sniper gun. A scattergun is, you call a scattergun like a shotgun.
We're really selling it big.
Yeah,
This is
it means it goes all over the place. It could be. It may not be hit.
That's right.
It may
All
not
over
hit
the
the
place.
bullseye, but it almost can't miss the target.
Right.
Because so many of the pellets are going in different directions. So
you pulled
it's
that
Wilder.
together really, really
Thank
well.
you.
You're
Well,
welcome.
well, thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Lauren. Thank you.
Okay. I have eaten enough meals with you over the last few decades that I don't really even have to ask you this. One of my least favorite things about you is that you can always say no to dessert. That's one of my least favorite things. It's the thing that I don't understand, and one of the ways in which we are so not alike.
Okay, I just want to comment that might be something that someone, not you, would say. That's one of the things I admire most about you.
Well, I guess
you simply. It depends on whether you fall the way you lean.
Yeah,
so,
but I mean, I admire it, but it just makes me feel
crazy.
so bad so often, and I don't understand it. Yeah.
But you know what? Real quick to point out to counterbalance that. Salt is my sugar, and you know that.
Well,
I can eat my weight in bread and real butter.
Yeah,
I can.
Well,
The
so
chips,
can I.
but the chips. But I know. But the chips and salsa, the salty things, that's my weakness.
Yeah.
But sweets, I don't have unless it has some sour in it. If it's some sweet and sour, like I would eat maybe some sweet tarts or something like that, or the gummies that are like the ones that are sour. Sour Patch Kids, something like that.
Right,
I might have some of those.
Oh, those are really
but like
good.
a piece of chocolate cake.
Yeah.
Not
interested in
that. I would take one, and you've seen me do this over the years.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, I would say I'm not going to order one because I'm not going to eat it. But I would take one bite and
then
really
you do.
truly only one bite. That's all I want. I got a taste of it. And that's good enough for me, and I really don't need any more.
It is a mystery to me, but there's some scientific data now to back me up on why it's so hard for me to say no.
Okay.
German researchers have identified a duality in some specialized brain cells in humans and mice, actually, called POMC neurons.
This all sounds very scientific.
It's very scientific.
Okay.
Forever, these neurons have been known as appetite suppressors that release the chemicals that tell us we're full at the end of a meal.
Okay.
However, these same cells simultaneously trigger a specific craving for sugar through a different mechanism.
Now, this is what explains. Sometimes when I'm with my mother, she'll say, "I'm really, really full."
Yeah.
And then very shortly after that, she will say, "You know what sounds good? One of those small ice cream sandwiches."
Yes, that's exactly
so
it.
So it's all scientific.
It is scientific.
I got it now.
Those tricky little brain cells.
Golly.
So it turns out it's not a lack of willpower. It's not eating your feelings or anything like that. It's your brain's fault.
Okay.
Now, interestingly, though, and you mentioned this is kind of tied to something you just said. Those same POMC neurons don't tell you that you're still hungry for something salty or something fatty. It's specific to sugar. So this makes it look like for all of these years, generations, we've turned dessert after dinner into kind of a cultural thing, and all the time it was our brains telling us.
That's interesting.
Our brains telling us you're going to want something sweet after dinner. So why don't you work that into the work that into the plan, work that into the menu.
Yeah, so eat up, everybody. It's your brain's fault.
I guess so. It's your brain's fault.
I that does make sense. The only way sometimes when I've had maybe not a need for, but maybe a taste for something sweet would be if I had something sort of greasy, like a greasy sort of particularly greasy meal. I would want something sort of like a sorbet, like one spoon of sorbet.
Yeah, it's the one spoon that I just can't. I just can't.
It's so
outside of
sorry.
my experience.
I'm so sorry. Speaking of brain, we talked recently about Valentine's Day, obviously, last week. And I meant to say, I have, this because we said on the radio show, everyone can remember their first crush.
Oh,
that
yeah.
you can remember the first name, at least the first name, and you remember something about them.
Yep.
Every single person. So memory. I'm
Donald
talking about
Graham.
memory. I got kind of obsessed with memory when I was driving down the road one time with Caroline, and this is Caroline was she was like, I don't know, three or 4 years old, and I'm driving down the road, and this is long before GPS. Nobody had GPS stuff, right?
Right.
And so Caroline says, "Daddy, how do you know where you're going?" And I think the answer I gave was, "Oh, because I've been there many times."
Yeah.
But then I got really to thinking, how do we know?
Mm-hmm.
How do we know? Now you just do what the girl on the box tells you. You know, redirecting,
The voice in the
rerouting,
GPS,
rerouting.
yeah.
But as it relates to memory, how do we know? How do we remember? Now,
This is a great question because I remember having that same thought as a child, and not even necessarily just as a child, but into my early teens before I was driving myself. I remember
How do I
sitting,
know?
next to my mom or my dad in the passenger seat, thinking, I know where we're going, and I know I've been there many times. But if you cut me loose right now to get there, I would have no idea how to do it.
Yep.
And it wasn't until I was driving myself that those things sort of started to sink in.
Yeah, and you've heard me say before, someone will say, where is the place? How do we get there? And I've said, I can't tell you how to get there, but I could drive you there.
Right.
And part of that is, I drew out a map. You may remember I did this. I drew out a map, sort of the main veins of North Texas.
Yeah.
What's the main circular thing? It's 820 in Fort Worth. What's the main circular thing? It's Loop 12 in Dallas, and you have 635 that becomes 20. It goes around, and you have 20 at the bottom, and you have 30 in the middle, and you have all the different connectors.
Was this the one that you did for my my directionally challenged?
Yep, I did. Do you remember
son?
that?
I
Yeah.
do.
And so you have Fort Worth is on the left, and Dallas is on the right, and Irving's in the middle. Below that is Arlington, and you have I-30 that goes through Arlington. You have 183 that goes on the top. You have 20 that goes quite low. You have Grapevine. You have Plano, Richardson, all those different ones, right? The counties, basically the four counties. And I drew this thing, and that's so that if you're, let's say you have a problem on the road before you had GPS, you'd say, well, I know I'm going west.
Right.
And if I go north, at some point I'll hit blank, whatever the street is, the main cross, and then I'll just simply take a left, and I will continue to go west. And then at some point I'll take a left again, go south, and then get back on this road and continue going west. Anyway, so that was my map thing. But let me tell you something. My cousin, who is now, let's say I'm 63, 64, he's 64 years old. My cousin, when he was in elementary school, had this phone number, 376-9737.
Okay.
My phone number growing up was 324-4091. A girl that I had some interest in, her number was 324-3623.
Okay. I remember phone
Isn't
numbers.
that crazy that you know?
788-7548. I think I was maybe 8 years old when that was my phone number. 530-0117. I mean, it was in a different city decades and decades and decades ago.
And way back then, we used the Franklin. We didn't use the area code. So ours was like 37. So 37 is FR. We were Franklin. That was our exchange. Franklin 4.
I don't remember ever using the word as a part of the exchange.
Oh, gotcha.
I remember knowing about that from the past, maybe the not too distant past, but I don't remember ever actually using that.
Yeah, we were Franklin 40632.
Okay.
Anyway, so that is memory, and so I kind of got obsessed with memory, and it turns out what we call memory is not really remembering. It is more remembering the last remembrance of a memory. So unlike a videotape that you could go back and say, this is exactly what happened, that's not the way we remember. The way we really remember, it's called reconstructive nature of memory.
Okay.
Research in psychology highlights that memory is not like a video recording, but rather a dynamic process where our brains piece together information based on fragments of past experiences, current beliefs, contextual clues. it leads to remembrances that may not be a perfect match for the actual event. Isn't that something?
Well, that makes sense. People in my family and we have had the same experiences, but remember
very
different parts of them, or maybe remember the same parts, but we have different memories of them.
Every time we recall a memory, we're recalling a memory. Every time we recall a memory, we can inadvertently alter it by incorporating new details, perspectives, further emphasizing the remembrance aspect. So there's a difference between a remembrance and a memory. The remembrance is the brain retelling it to itself. It's sort of like you're playing the old telephone or gossip, or whatever they called it, where you have 9 people in a circle and you pass it around, you whisper it, and by the end it comes out something completely different. It's like that going on inside your own head.
Okay.
That if you don't have it attached to things that don't change, you will actually, your memories will become remembrances. Memory is an odd, crazy thing. And I've really been obsessed with it. Not obsessed with it, but it's been on my mind since about 28 years ago when Caroline said, "How do you know where you're going?"
That's fascinating.
And it's like, how do I know? Part of it is you think, well, it's because I've done this a long time. I've driven this same way a long time. That's one way memory is made, is by repetition. There are other ways that memories are made and stuck in your head. Talk about the neurons you were talking about before firing off. You have those things. There's a connection that is made in your head on these things, and I've always been fascinated with memory.
So if I say I'm driving to church every Sunday morning,
okay,
I'm not. It's not that I know how to get there because of the habit I have made of driving that same route on Sunday mornings. It's not that I'm remembering all of the times that I've driven there. I am only remembering the last time I drove there, and that's what gets me there successfully this time.
Maybe. On directions, it perhaps is different, is more like repetition. Yeah. I've been there. But a memory of an event is altered a tad, or can be altered by and become more of a remembrance.
Okay.
Tell me about your high school graduation.
Gotcha.
And you would go down this thing of who was there and who wasn't there, and throwing your hat up in the air and whatever. And it may turn out you didn't even throw your hat in the air.
Yeah.
But there was something that these things have added to the story of you. And but in terms of like going somewhere, driving, now of course you'll just do whatever Waze or the thing tells you to do in case there's a blockage or a construction thing on the road. Just where you're going to go, end up. You're just going to drive there, perhaps a more circuitous route. Anyway, memory is an amazing thing.
It is,
and funny to reconstructive nature of memory and the impact of retelling and how it can morph.
I love that. Something big coming up this Sunday night. Well, it's another step on the road to something bigger. If you lean this way, if you're interested in these kinds of things, it's the SAG Awards.
Oh, the SAG Awards,
of course. The SAG Awards.
Now, hold on. It stands for
Screen Actors Guild.
Screen Actors Guild. Is this going to be also on CBS?
No, streaming live on Netflix.
Streaming on Netflix.
Streaming
That's
on
interesting.
Netflix this Sunday night at 7:00. So I've got a little problem now. I don't have Netflix right now, so I'm going to have to figure this out.
I'll let you do mine. You do mine.
Well, do they let you do that anymore?
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I don't know. I might have to find some place to watch it, after the fact. But I will watch it.
I'll give you my little iPad. You can watch it.
Okay. Okay. Deal. So do you want to talk a little bit about that? Do you want to do
quiz?
I
guess some I know it's a little
guesses?
bit. It's a little bit different. The ones that we normally do. We do the Grammys, we do the Golden Globes, and then we do the Oscars or the Academy Awards.
Right.
But this is different because they don't do. What is it they don't do? This is for actors.
It is for actors.
So they don't have like the best picture and best director.
They don't.
This
have
is just
like
the actors.
The best ensemble.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Give me
best
some. Let's
series
give
ensemble. There's no music or anything like that. No director, no producer awards, things like
let's
that.
guess some.
I did have to cut it down a little bit because we don't want to do too much.
Right.
So you might notice a few things missing. But the first thing I want to ask you about is your thoughts on the drama series ensemble.
Okay, I'm looking for a paper here. Hold on a second. Go ahead.
Okay. The nominees are Bridgerton, The Day of the Jackal, The Diplomat, Shogun, the green vegetable, I think, of dramas, and Slow Horses.
Okay.
What do you think's going to win?
I think Shogun is probably going to win.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to pull for The Diplomat. I like season 2 quite a bit.
Okay. I'm going to go with Shogun. There.
Okay, next.
Okay, we are going to move on to male actor in a drama series. Okay. So there is Tadanobu Asano. That's from Shogun.
Right.
There's Jeff Bridges for The Old Man. Gary Oldman from Slow Horses, Eddie Redmayne, The Day of the Jackal, and Hiroyuki Sanada in Shogun.
Well, I think Shogun may take everything, but I'm going to go for. I've always been a huge fan. I'm going to go for The Old Man. Did you ever see that?
I did not.
It's it's really good. I think if it kind of wheels fall off about the next to the last episode. Yeah. As I recall, it's like 6 or 8 episodes, whatever the number it is. Kind of falls off there at the end. It seems like, well, wait a minute, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. But I would say, what's his name?
Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, I like Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
I like him.
Okay, very good. I'm going to go with Tadanobu Asano from Shogun.
Yeah.
And again, not because I've watched it or I know anything, but like you, I kind of think that they're going to run away with it all.
What you got?
Female actor in a drama series. We have Kathy Bates in Matlock, Nicola Coughlan in Bridgerton, Allison Janney in The Diplomat, Kerry Russell in The Diplomat, and Anna Sawai in Shogun.
Okay.
This is hard.
Yeah, let me ask something here because I haven't seen The Girl Matlock, but you have.
I have. I've seen a couple.
You saw
of episodes.
a couple of. What did you think generally? And I know she's good, and everybody loves Kathy Bates. She's a great actress, no doubt about that.
She is, and she's won a few awards for this role.
Already? Okay.
Yeah, she has.
Well, I like her a lot. I just don't know. I think my guess. Can I give my pick?
Yeah.
It won't surprise you that I'm going to pick Allison Janney.
Okay.
Because I think when she came into the episodes of The Diplomat season 2, I mean, it was like everything got turned up to 11. She
elevated it all.
I mean, everything. She was the rising tide that lifted all ships. Mm-hmm. Everything got better with her on the set. So I'm going to say, and that might be a good way to determine who then should be the best female actress or actor or whatever. Is that they have that impact on the show itself. I'm going to say Allison Janney.
You know, I'm still. So you asked me what I thought about Kathy Bates. I watched it on an airplane because it was one of the choices that I had on the airplane. I haven't watched any more since. I don't know if that's an indicator of how much I liked it. I enjoyed it on the plane, and I thought she was great. She's already won 2 awards for this, but like you said, I think Anna Sawai won the Emmy last year, and I don't think Kathy Bates. Maybe she wasn't even. Maybe this was not in the running. She was not in the running yet for the Emmy. I'm gonna go. Yes. I'm gonna go with Anna Sawai.
Okay. And that's a Shogun thing.
That
right?
is for Shogun.
Okay,
it is.
Right,
okay, let's move on. We're going to look at films.
The
motion picture cast. So we have A Complete Unknown, Anora, Conclave, Emilia Perez, and Wicked.
Okay. This is a tough category because I think that there are lots of different ways I could say this one is going to win because of this. This one's going to win because of this. This one will win because of this. I would say, say him again.
Say him again?
Yeah, I'm
sorry. A Complete
sorry.
Unknown.
Yeah, say no.
I should have been humming Bob Dylan.
No, I would say no to that, even though it's...
It was a great movie.
Yeah, go ahead.
Anora.
Gotcha.
Conclave. Okay. Mm-hmm. Emilia Perez.
Okay.
And Wicked.
Okay, I hope it's not Emilia Perez.
Could have been humming something.
But I would say it could be Anora. I think Honora is actually the one, now that Amelia Perez is in trouble
Yeah.
because of the tweets from the
One of the
main actor.
stars. Uh-huh.
The main one, right? The main
Yeah.
one. He had, whatever, they had tweeted some bad stuff in the past, racial stuff. And
Carla Sofia Gascon.
so let's say X on her. She's not going to win it because, or he, whatever, not
Okay.
going to win it because of this thing. But I think everybody has turned their sort of eye in the sky toward Honora,
Okay.
which has its own issues. But I
Own
would say,
challenges.
I would say probably it's going to be Honora, probably.
Okay. I got you down for Honora. I'm
All
going to
right.
say a complete unknown.
Yeah, that'd be. I would
Just a
actually.
guess.
I would
I really
prefer
liked
that
it.
one actually.
Yep. Thought it was
Cool.
good.
All right.
Okay,
What you got?
male actor in a leading role,
Okay.
motion picture. We have Adrian Brody from The Brutalist, Timothy Chalamet, A Complete Unknown, Daniel Craig in Queer, Coleman Domingo in Sing Sing, and Ray Fiennes for Conclave.
It's going to be The Brutalist.
You think so,
Yeah,
Adrian
I'm
Brody?
quite certain.
Okay,
it
I'm
will be
putting
the.
you- I got you there.
The Brutalist. Although honestly, I haven't seen the movie. You know why? It's 4 days long.
It's not.
It's 3 hours and 35 minutes.
You just have to. You just don't drink a lot.
That is-
save your large Diet Coke for
that
the
is
second half after the
insane.
intermission, which there is.
That is
an intermission.
insane.
It's
Look,
long. It's very long.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
But I part of
Yeah,
the,
it's-
part of the reason I haven't seen
Yeah,
it
because it's
so long.
4 days long. It's not. There are so very few movies that I could endure that long. The Godfather, they were all long. The Lord of the Rings, they were all quite long.
Yeah.
But boy, you have to do a number to be able to be view worthy. Especially now, we have such a short. Our attention span is so much shorter than it was.
Well-
in 1975 or whenever The Godfather came out. I mean,
I-
we were still reading books, full
Yeah.
books in those days.
I think our short attention span affects the way movies are made,
Hmm.
but I think movies have gotten longer over the years. They might
a
have
good
to do
question.
more. I just heard somebody talking about the movie Rocky, which came out in 76 or
Yeah, so that sounds
77,
right.
78,
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. And when you watch that now, I just remember that movie
Feels
being
slow.
like a thrill ride.
But it's
you
slow
know?
now 'cause
Yeah,
we're
it
used to
feels
things
really
cut, lots
slow
of
now.
cuts,
And
yeah.
I'm sure
That
that
makes
would be
sense.
true if you
Yeah,
went
I
back and
understand.
watched a lot of movies from
Okay.
the 70s.
I
So
got you.
they might be long now, but I think they are produced in a way that they know
Pull
they
you
have
through.
to try to keep your attention.
I have to take your word
or
on that.
your
I'm not sure I'm going to
shorter
go
attention span.
for The Brutalist for
Okay.
the 4-day ride.
Okay, so you are taking Adrian
I am.
Brody.
I think you'll win it.
I think you're probably right, but I'm going to go with Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, I know you like him.
Yeah,
All right.
I would.
What
kinda,
is-
I would
so
like for
what-
him
what
to
else we
win.
got?
We got a female actor in a leading role,
Go.
motion picture. Pamela Anderson, The Last Showgirl. Cynthia Erivo, Wicked. Carla Sofia Gascon for Amelia Perez. Mikey Madison for Honora, and Demi Moore from The Substance.
All right, I got the answer.
Okay, who's it going to be?
It's Demi Moore.
I think it's going to be Demi
Yeah,
Moore too.
I
I think
so.
she's on a roll. Do we have time for? Did you see the thing? I bet you didn't see this because I bet Instagram doesn't feed you things like this. I saw something feed. Interesting choice of words. What Demi Moore eats in a day. She looks great. She looks fantastic. I don't know if she's had help along the way, any little
Maybe. Yeah, maybe
procedures
so.
or
Yeah, I
anything
don't
like
know.
that. But when I saw what she eats in a day, it's ridiculous.
Can I guess?
Yeah, you
It's-
can, but you'll never. I mean,
So
you
it's
won't
like
believe it.
First of all, it's really low calories.
It's so low
Okay.
calorie.
Okay,
I don't
she
know
has-
how she I don't know how she gets around all
among
day.
Among the things she eats, I don't know how much, but she
Okay.
eats. Egg is in there somewhere. Fish is in there somewhere.
No,
Chicken is in there
first of all,
somewhere?
she's a strict vegan. So keep that
I
in
didn't know
mind.
that. So milk duds only.
Fruits, vegetables. There are no milk duds in this
Okay.
diet. I don't even know. I don't know
Eggplant.
for sure.
I don't know
that
what
this
is she?
real. I mean, but if it's on Instagram, it's got to be real, right?
No, of course.
So for meal one, a vegetable like spinach, just
Okay,
like,
go ahead.
and she eats a
So
lot
that's-
of raw food.
that's okay.
Too. Okay. Meal two, an orange, broccoli, and some seeds. And they showed a plate. It's not even a lot of
No,
broccoli.
okay.
I ate more broccoli than that for dinner last night, and it was just a small part of my meal.
Oh, got it.
Seeds. Seeds.
Seeds. I don't know what that means.
Meal 3 is it means nothing. It's like nothing. Meal 3, some broth.
That's all.
That's all. Meal 4. It's not a gallon of.
So
broth
she has 4 or
either.
5 meals a day.
It's just meal 4 is optional.
Okay.
Meal 4, the optional meal is a small salad.
Okay.
Just a salad, just like the greens and that's all. Like there's no protein. I don't know. Maybe some beans or something like that.
She can't have cheese. Yep.
She can. And then meal 5, avocado, sweet potato, and some kind of fruit, like maybe berries.
That sounds like the biggest meal.
That doesn't sound like, it doesn't sound like a baby could live on that.
No.
It's worse. She looks great. I don't understand.
How do you do that?
I don't understand how you live.
Yeah, well, good for her. Maybe
is there
she'll...
any joy in that?
If you like seeds,
Am I looking in the wrong
guess
place for
no.
my joy?
I think we started our whole time talking about food.
We
talked about.
It's my fault.
But
I'm
the
sorry.
dessert and no, it's I whatever works for people. I don't know. I mean, I don't eat big portions of things.
Yeah. But you don't eat like this. I mean, you eat real food.
Oh gosh, no! I wasn't suggesting that.
Not that this isn't real food. It just doesn't seem like there's very much
real pleasure in this food for you. I got it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, got it.
I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way.
February is fuel February. Only view food as fuel in February.
Did I really?
That's what I say.
Okay.
That's what I say. I say you don't. Now that February is almost over.
That's right. I could probably do that for the last
but think about
7 or 8 days.
Think about that for a second. In fact, I was finishing something eating last night or night before, and was asked, "Are you full?" And I said, "No, I'm not full. In February, I only eat until I'm not hungry." So there's a difference, I mean, I can eat. I make really good chili, and I can eat a bunch of chili.
Yeah.
But February is food as fuel February. I'll take a smaller portion, and I will stop when I am no longer hungry.
That just sounds so healthy.
Well, I don't know if it's healthy, but it's probably not bad to do it every now and then. That's actually that is a much more liberal than the thing that I started for a while and it didn't go well.
What was that?
What's that thing where they eat and you don't eat, then you eat and then you don't eat?
Like fasting, intermittent fasting.
Intermittent fasting. I started something that I couldn't complete. I'm embarrassed to even admit it. It was no food February, and
yeah, that's a problem. That's
my first thought after like a few days was, I've taken this too far. I think it's...
Yeah.
That is podcast for today, for Wilder Show Podcast. Find us online at wildershow.com. You can leave us a voice message there, review, question, comment, whatever. And Lauren wants your emails about, what was it about? To podcast at wildershow.com. Oh, about the Megyn Kelly thing.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Does that bother you too? Or does it seem like really good advice for you?
Okay.
Or
there you go.
Maybe tell me why it shouldn't bother me so much.
Okay, good. Podcast at wildershow.com. The Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. We're also now on, not with the podcast, we're on Instagram. So be one of the first to watch us gramming for Wilder Show podcast. And so when you go get the podcast, make sure you like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share wherever you get your podcasts. And we'll see you next time.
Da-dum-dum.